Hello, my gorgeous souls. Happy to have you here with me today. It has been kind of a while. My equipment was actually gathering dust on it because it's been a minute. But before we get started, I would just like to say that if you are catching this video at the time that it is being first uploaded. First of all, I have gotten some new subscribers, and that means the world to me. I'm so happy to have you here. It is an honor, anyone who chooses to share space and then to stay and to connect with me on a consistent basis by subscribing. That is, again, such an honor, a high honor. And on that note, if you are a new subscriber and have made your way here, and again are seeing this video at the time it is first being shared, I am in the process of moving. I am moving next weekend, and so things are a little bit busy right now. But my goal is that after I obviously get this area of my life settled and situated, that I will be returning to doing readings quite frequently. I haven't, just for context, ever moved since moving into the house I live in now. This is my first home that I moved into as an adult, and I've accumulated everything here, had a family here, and yeah, it's like my whole life now being uprooted. So it's going to take a moment to adjust and get settled. I'm in a huge transition phase of life, chariot and tower energy, and death, all sorts of great things going on. So it's just taking up a lot of my energy and making it where I can't devote as much time to readings, but that will be resolving hopefully within the next few weeks. So we are doing another pick a card reading for you today, but as you can probably tell, it's a very different style of reading than I have brought to you before. I definitely wanted to do a reading today, but I didn't want to bring out the tarot. I just wasn't called to do that. And I wanted to showcase my new deck. I got some new decks to the channel. This one in particular is the Clarity, the Cartomancer Clarity deck by Alan Benoit. And Cartomancy is a very different style of divination. It is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, systems of reading. It is also referred to as parlor cards, gypsy cards. There's all different renditions of it, but essentially it's a very traditional, again, old style, centuries old style of reading that utilizes the traditional playing card symbols. This deck in particular has been modified to be almost like an oracle style deck, but it's just a very, again, different style of reading, really clear insights that have come through when I've used it. So I thought, why not bring that to you today and see what happens to do a reading of whatever messages you need to hear from the Cartomancy-Style deck. So you can go ahead and select your pile based upon either the card or the crystal, of course. Pile 1 is the Herald of the Heart. It is a card number 11, and it is the Jack of Hearts. That is paired with the Chrysocolla. We also have for pile 2, the Queen of Desire. She is the Queen of Spades, card 12. She is paired with the Lepidolite. And pile 3 is Protection, card 6, which is the Six of Hearts with the Rose Calcite or Pink Calcite. Go ahead and take a moment to reflect over whichever pile is calling to you, and I will see you in a moment for your reading. Hey, pile 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the Chrysocolla today. Beautiful new crystal point that I just received not long ago. And the gorgeous Jack of Hearts. It is called the Herald of the Hearts in this deck, card 11. And she actually represents what they call a mystical messenger. It can be the sign of someone, a loved one visiting or receiving a good, message, I suppose. But what's really interesting about her that I just realized is it's the heart suit. So it represents obviously emotions, which also ties to cups in tarot. But she's standing in water, and then she's got a fish on a ribbon that she's like holding on to, hanging on to. I'm not exactly sure where that ties into your reading yet, but it's obviously significant. So we're going to just set that to the side and get started with pulling the cards today from the Cartomancer. This is actually a very long name. Cartomancer Archetypal Playing Cards Duality Deck, and it is the Clarity version. So there was 2 versions of this deck. This Clarity version has been released in the past by the creator Alan Benoit, but then it just was this deck. There apparently wasn't a companion, which he has now subsequently added a companion deck, in addition to renaming this deck Clarity, because the companion is called Shadow. So the Clarity deck is going to have all of the lighter side of things, really bright, beautiful imagery. As you can see, it's very vintage in nature, which is like so my favorite. But let's go ahead and get started with pulling cards. We're just going to be asking Spirit whatever message you need to hear, and we're going to be doing it Cartomancy-Style. So it's going to read very differently than a tarot or oracle. It is going to be more of a Lenormand style deck, or gypsy cards if you're familiar, poker playing cards, parlor cards, all of these things. Sibilla is a traditional Italian term for these same types of cards. The French were very big into cartomancy, as were Italians, and a couple other cultures as well. So it's just a very old, very, I would say antiquated, but yet it's still relevant. You know, it's 2022 and we're still using these cards, and they're still as accurate as ever, but it is a very vintage style way of reading. So it'll be a little bit different. But the first card we have out for you is the Eight of Spades, Introspection, I believe that says. What else for pile one? We have the 10 of Spades, Champion. I'm going to do 5 cards total. We have 2 of Spades, Ego. We have the King of Clubs. Excuse me, that was Clubs, not Spades. 2 of Clubs, Ego, and the King of Clubs, Chief of Eternity. And the 8 of Clubs, Self-Realization. Hopefully you can see all of those cards. I have a very different setup today. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, what's very interesting to note about these cards for you, pile one, is cartomancy in particular is a style of reading where the positional sort of, I guess, orientation of the cards is very significant. The imagery is incredibly significant. So as the creator has indicated, excuse me, if cards like these, your 8 of Spades and your 10 of Spades, are opposing each other or facing away from each other, as you can see, the man that's riding atop that looks like a bicycle, or it's a spinning wheel, you know, upright, is facing to the left, whereas the champion, man in the champion card, is facing either down but also to the right, then these would represent negative or opposing energies. We also have central to this spread the ego card, which the ego card is sort of leaning to the right, but it's, I think, a relatively fixed card, which is also something that the creator discusses. When cards are fixed, meaning they're more so straight on, straight ahead, which the majority of the cards in your spread are, they represent stronger themes, more prominent fixed themes also for the reading itself. So what I'm already getting from this spread here and this message is that you have, it feels like a lot of growth happening for you, a lot of change taking place, a lot of self-actualization, as it says, self-realization. So there's awareness going on. There's clarity being achieved here at some level, but I think the ego is still taking hold in a very strong way for you, being central in the spread. You know, as much as we have this person that's sitting here, you know, very, again, fixed, transposed, taking time to reflect, stay in a calm flow state, gain that clarity and awareness and that enlightenment, we still have this, you know, presented as a clown, a joker, someone who doesn't take things seriously. The ego is one who just wants to protect itself. The ego is there to protect, yes, but it also creates falsehoods and illusions. And you know, as you can look in the imagery of this clown or jester, they're covered in makeup, they're wearing a mask. So the ego is this mask that we all have in order to operate in our 3D selves, but it's part of the spiritual journey and our growth in order to shed those masks, and again, to achieve that state of realization about self and about our journey. And I think that's where you're kind of, where you're heading, where things are going. When I get this card, the mystical messenger for you, that Jack of Hearts, that's actually kind of coming through for me as being guidance from source and spirit. So it's sort of like an opening door to say, these are going to be your special, you know, impactful messages today, that this is a sign from source. Perhaps you've been asking for a sign from spirit or hoping for some confirmation or validation of what you're going through, and then this would be it. I want to go ahead and get a clarifier as well. So we have the Nine of Hearts, which is animus. So this is, again, with ego, somebody who's very much, you would think with the Nine of Hearts that would be someone who's very emotive, very in touch with emotion, and very much dealing with either their emotional or intuitive body. But it's actually quite the opposite, and it makes perfect sense clarifying ego. The animus card actually relates to being very much in your masculine power. So again, very ego driven, very earthy and grounded and limited in your thinking. There's some element here to what you're experiencing currently that has you really conflicted with the messages coming through from your higher self, from spirit, that are telling you that you're capable, you can achieve whatever you're seeking to, you can evolve and grow, you can transcend as a person. It's really seeming like your sort of 3D mechanical logical self is fighting this at every step of the way. I'd also want to go ahead and take a look at what the Chief of Eternity, doesn't that just seem like such an interesting name? And this guy has his eyes closed, this man has his eyes closed, he's pictured being very serene and still, and to me at peace, but because his eyes are closed, he represents the higher self as well. The union, it says, of consciousness and unconsciousness. So again, it's where the higher self here, your inner being, spirit trying to connect with you at a deeper level, and then your 3D egoic self kind of meet. The unconscious and the conscious coming together. And it does represent also the beginning of a cycle. So as I said, there's a lot going on for you right now, pile one. You're definitely in a place where you are battling between, perhaps intuition and mind, or head and heart, or whatever you would like to say. There's definitely kind of a battle of wills here between different facets of yourself. It feels very fragmented right now. And as we go back to the beginning of your spread, again, we have introspection, so another card of reflection and solitude and gaining clarity, but it's opposing this card Champion, which again is the card that says that you can achieve things that you're wanting to, you can be successful, you can have the life that you're wanting, you can achieve the things that you're wanting to. Because those two cards are opposing each other and they are apart, they're facing away from one another, it is a very negative relationship between the two. And it's again indicative that your inner self, what is trying to come out and convey messages to you of strength, of capability, of resiliency, are being met with the resistance of the ego, and you are feeling very doubtful that you can truly be successful. And look at this card. This depicts, hopefully that's focusing for you, it's depicting this man who's trying to focus and work, and he's being attacked by an alligator, he's being attacked by a predator. So it just represents also the idea that you feel as though at any moment, at any turn, when you're attempting to get somewhere in life, when you're trying to move through and you're pushing through, or you're working hard, in your mind you feel it's what you need to do, that you're being met with resistance, or you're encountering challenges and obstacles at every step of the way, every turn. And the message with that actually is that there's a great deal of resistance, again, tied to this ego card, tied to this animus, this tendency to focus on the logical aspect of things and not really lean into emotion, or lean into this unconscious body, on spirit to guide you and to give you those messages that can help you intuit your way through a situation. You believe almost brute force. Hard work, effort is what gains results, and that simply isn't true. Productivity alone does not determine also self-worth. Your ego tells you that. If you're not doing something, you're not achieving something, you're not worthy. We're worthy just by being alive, by being incarnate, because our soul has decided to come into this physical vessel, this body, to experience and enjoy life and to grow and expand. That in itself, your divine birthright, makes you worthy and entitles you to all of your desires and everything that you would like to have. But again, your 3D self really conflicts with those messages that are inherently true, that spirit is trying to convey to you. So it's really important, pile one, that you take this message, again, this herald of this good news, to really reflect on how you are fighting against yourself from achieving the success that you desire so much. Because it really is just you standing in your own way. It feels very strongly like you are both the alligator and the man. You are attacking yourself. You are sabotaging, self-sabotaging, and creating, again, the resistance and the difficulty and the obstacles and challenges that prevent you from truly transcending these energies and just getting to this flow state, this beautiful state of manifestation with this calm man pictured in the self-realization card. So pile one, I still hope you've enjoyed this little mini reading. I don't know if it was a mini. Let's take a look at the time. I'm not sure how much time this took. I mean, that was, probably my shortest reading ever, but it's a wonderful reading, I think, for being just with playing style cards and no tarot, no oracle. How interesting. If this message resonated, I would especially love to hear from you in the comments below because it is, again, something new that I'm doing, and would love to know how it's worked out for you, how it's resonated with you, and if you can take in those messages as being true. And if you could, and it has resonated for you today, I would love for you to decide to subscribe if you haven't done so. Support the channel in any way that you can, like, share, comment, as I stated, or there are other means to do so as well with donation links or an Amazon wish list. I also do private readings. All of that would help a great deal right now. And that information is linked below also in the description box. So your support here, even just your presence, means so much. I'm so happy and honored to have shared space with you to connect. And until next time, Pile 1, I hope you take great care. Bye-bye. Hey, Pile 2, apologize for the wobbliness, by the way. Coming in hot. We're doing a slightly different setup, different style of cards today. I just wanted to do something more casual, more fun. We're just kind of hanging out. I am in the process of moving, as I said in my intro. So this is why I've been a little bit absent, but I'm still gaining new subscribers and still growing almost daily. And it means so much. It's such a wonderful, rewarding feeling to see the response from people to my content. And again, it means the world. So if you're new here, welcome. So happy to have you. It's an honor to share space and connect with everyone that chooses to grace my presence here, or grace their presence at my channel, I should say. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. As I stated again in the intro, this is the Clarity deck, the Cartomancer Clarity deck. You chose the Lepidolite, this beautiful purple point, and the Queen of Spades, or the Queen of Desire, rather. And this deck is going to read very differently than tarot or oracle. It is very much more of a Lenormand style. It's also referred to as parlor cards, gypsy cards, Sibilla. There's lots of different names for it. Very popular in French and Italian culture, but it's also a very antiquated style of reading. It is one of the first forms of divination that existed. Again, it's evolved from traditional playing cards to having the playing card symbols, and then obviously a little bit more reference points with imagery and titles. But it is just a fascinating, wonderful form of reading that actually worked out really well for Pile 1. So let's see what it does for you today. But with that said, the beginning card here, Queen of Desire, this just strikes me as Queen of Wands, passionate, fiery, alive, motivated and driven, inspired. We have the pear here, which obviously represents lots of different things with those coloration. We have the root chakra represented with that red and kind of orange leading into the yellow, which is solar plexus, and then primarily green. Green being symbolic of love and the heart chakra, and then all of this purple as well, which I thought was just stunning, incredibly beautiful, especially paired with that lepidolite. And obviously purple represents the crown chakra. So this could also be desire related to something of a spiritual nature. We're going to have to see how this ties in with the rest of your reading. We're going to set her to the side for now. Hopefully you can still see her. And we're going to go ahead and pull 5 cards for you. Whatever message that needs to come through from Spirit is what we are going to be sharing today. And the Creator has explained that Cartomancy is a very different style of reading also, in that it is very positionally focused. The cards themselves, dependent upon the orientation of how the imagery appears, makes a big difference in how the cards are interpreted. So we're going to go ahead and see what comes out. The first card we have for you is the Ace of Spades, Thinking. The Two of Spades, Discovery. The Three of Diamonds, Faith. This is wonderful energy so far for you, Pile 2. We have the Seven of Spades, Foolishness. And the Nine of Clubs, Psyche. So again, really, really strong energies tying into the idea of spirituality, of enlightenment, of balance in your intuitive inner mind. The central card here that we have obviously being faith, represented by the sun, this beautiful, vibrant, enlightening energy. Light is, you know, it's clarity, it's awareness, it's joy and happiness. With this little boy, you know, reflecting and looking sort of to the sun, gaining its warmth and feeling its power, I really think that, again, this is you getting fired up and being lit up and just coming back to life. This Queen of Desire is one who, you know, again, has that passion, that zest. She wants to go forward. She wants to pursue things. She has strong confidence and assurance. And the sun is, you know, representative of masculine energy, obviously, yang energy. It is one that is, again, very assertive, very divinely guided. You can think of it as also Leo energy, fire energy. Just, you know, I don't know why I'm rambling, but essentially the sun ties into so many things about joy and optimism. And again, inspiration, passion, fire. Again, Leos are all about being, you know, standing out, personal power, taking charge of something. It also ties back to children. The sun card relates to children. So this could also be factored into your life at this time in some sort of a way. We have the two first cards coming out for you is the Ace of Spades, thinking, and the Two of Spades, discovery, and they're facing away from each other. Or I should say, the child in the thinking card is facing towards discovery, but discovery has their back turned. The woman in the discovery card is, look at her, she's not even looking at the mirror that she's holding. She's not looking at any of the people who are supporting her and carrying her. And in fact, she's quite oblivious. And the thinking card, to me, when it's reflecting and looking at discovery, and yet discovery isn't connecting and seeing, you know, it's relevant to me to bring up that whatever you're thinking and considering and deciding on, or whatever steps you're trying to take in your journey, if there's a decision to make, if there's a project you're wanting to create or start, you're not connecting fully with, I guess, the truth of that. You know, obviously the sun can represent truth, again, clarity, awareness, enlightenment as well. You're not fully connecting and discovering what it is. You're not making strides towards your creative process. You're sort of having a vision, it feels, but it's not actually grounded. It's not rooted. It's not, you know, look at her. She's not on the ground. She's not even connecting either with the people and the things that are supporting her and supporting, you know, her stability at this time, or the things that are assisting her and aiding her. I do think you're getting a lot of ideas piled too. A lot of things are coming through. There's a lot of desire or impulse that you're feeling, again, with that Queen of Desire. There's a lot going on here in which you're being called to collaborate and to create and to be active and to be engaged fully into some type of project. Again, as I stated, it feels like some sort of endeavor or decision. There's something on the cusp of occurring for you that you're thinking about it. The idea is sort of rattling around in your mind. Look at how this child is connecting with that bird there, which is a symbol of spirit, but they're also holding a watch. So the watch is dangling, representative of time, and there's really not a lot of emphasis or focus on that time. So I don't think necessarily you're feeling pressured or rushed. But again, there is this kind of element of obliviousness or of not grounding and sort of focusing as intently on your projects, on your desires right now, having those ideas, but again, not grounding them, not being able to focus enough to create those and manifest them into fruition. What's interesting though, is as you know, we have such disconnect in most of these cards in the beginning of your spread, the sun card is actually looking, the face on the sun is looking at the boy who's looking at the sun. So again, the idea of faith coming in and stepping into, you know what this feels like? This feels like previously losing or having a lack of focus, and maybe that's an energy you're still coming out of, but now stepping into faith, stepping into awareness, connecting at a deeper level with your passionate drive, not yet acting. With the Seven of Spades card, foolishness, you know, that person's very anxious. Look at, he's chewing on a shoe. He's certainly not in a flow state. Feels very resistant, very hesitant, doubtful. I do think that you're in this energy of stepping out of, more of trusting yourself, having faith in the universe, but also trusting self. The child is an underdeveloped energy. It's unskilled, it's in development, immature, if you will. But it's also about coming and rising into that power and growing. Think about how the sun gives us sustenance and ability to grow. It powers all things on earth from, into being. And with that, it's as though the sun is helping to, again, reaffirm your faith, bring back your desire. And you're just sort of overcoming some of these lingering doubts. There's some element here where you consider this to be perhaps a bad choice, or you don't want to make a bad choice. What is this foolishness card? So we have the Herald of Discovery, which is the Jack of Spades. The spade is being pierced by the sword of truth, which is interesting. Again, there's another bird here. Birds could be significant for you, or they could be a symbol you often choose. The Herald of Discovery, card 11. Once again, though, the idea of discovery, but this person is wearing a blindfold. They're not seeing things clearly. So it's almost like you're concerned that you're not seeing all of your potential avenues that you can take, or you're concerned that you're going to end up missing something, not be aware of something. It says this is an explorer, visionary, a sign that something new is coming, a person who promotes interest in something. So again, that call is there, that desire is there, the interest exists within you, and that desire is being fueled actively right now, pile 2, and yet you're hesitant. It is a sign, though. This is a herald of news that, the heralds are often messengers, especially in this deck as I'm seeing. It is a sign that something new is coming for you, and you need to not be in this anxious energy about it. You need to trust. You need to really embody that faith. We also have the 9 of Spades here, which is the Psyche. Now, it's interesting to note that these cards are not to be read in reverse, and yet we do have a reversed style to this card. Upright, the eye is open, but as you can see, underneath or on the bottom, the eye is closed. This representing, not needing to necessarily trust or focus on the 3D with your physical eyes, and needing to trust internally, again, having that inner faith, that inner resolve, and connecting with spirit. Your desire is your impulse and your guide. That's what, that's how spirit's trying to get through to you. It's trying to connect to your intuition, give you those divine, inspirational thoughts to act. And that's what you should be doing. That's what you should be heeding. That is what it's kind of trying to tell you, I think, with this foolishness card. You need to heed those impulses and not, pass them off as being frivolous or nonsensical, or not seeing them for what they are. Again, with that mask, not seeing or intuiting or processing things clearly. The sword of truth is up and it's ready to go, and it's piercing through that spade. It's the ability to connect to that deeper wisdom, that higher wisdom is there. If you keep focusing in the right place, again, as this child is looking to the sun for this energy, this sustenance, this beautiful warmth, your faith is going to be magnified, and that desire is going to continue to grow, and you can trust it. You can trust it, pile 2. The Psyche card also makes me think, again, not so much of the mind, but of the inner self, of intuition. The open eye, clarity. So again, while we don't need to see with our physical eyes, our faith, helps us to trust even in the absence of perhaps physical evidence. We can still open our eyes to clarity and to see. We can even consider that the third eye, to know that something is right for us and to feel it at a deeper level than what appears in the 3D. And then that can be what prompts us to act. So if that was the message you were needing today, pile 2, I hope it's been relayed to you in a way that resonates and makes sense. It's been my honor to read for you today with this very different style of reading. Please do let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed this style of reading, and if it has spoken to you or to your situation and you can take it in as true. Really, really enjoyed this. Very, very different messages, but just a really wonderful, again, different, older style of divination that I wanted to bring to you to start exercising these new decks that I just received. So if you've enjoyed it, go ahead and let me know. Also, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever calls to you. to support this channel. I also do have links in my description box that you will find for other ways that you can also contribute to the channel by way of donations, Amazon wish list, or even just booking a private reading with me. I do offer private readings. But on that note, Pile 2, it's been so wonderful connecting with you today. I hope to again in the future. And until next time, take great care. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. This is a Cartomancy-Style reading today, very different from any reading or divination I've done in the past in other videos, but I have new decks. I wanted to definitely use them, stretch them out, get them some exercise and some airtime on the channel. And so far, I'm loving it. Both piles 1 and 2 are so different and incredible messages coming through. So I'm excited to see what will happen for you today, Pile 3. Let's go ahead and get started. You were drawn to and chose this beautiful, I'm going to call that pink calcite at this point. I was calling it rose quartz for the longest time. And as I look now and reflect more, I think it's actually a calcite. You also chose this beautiful 6 of Hearts card, protection. She looks like she's hiding to me. You know, she's staying safe. She's staying in her bubble here. All of her hearts, which would represent emotion, are contained inside of that sphere, inside of that bubble. So there's really a lot of hesitancy, it feels, coming from you, Pile 3. A lot of need to self-preserve or stay reserved. And we're going to see what that relates to in just a moment. This style of reading is going to be, as I said, very different from traditional tarot or oracle. It does read more as a Lenormand style deck. It's also referred to as Sibila or parlor cards. Again, it traditionally uses the idea of playing card imagery, or excuse me, playing card symbols, now combined with imagery and, you know, a little bit more leading card titles to help us frame the readings. But it also operates heavily on positional references with the card spreads. So not only the cards themselves and what they represent, but in correlation to other cards near them, the imagery, how things are presented in terms of, well, I guess orientation. So how the cards appear next to each other, whether they're fixed, meaning straight ahead, or if they're leaning or looking to one side or the other. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Whatever message needs to come through from Spirit today, we're keeping it very open-ended, and then we'll see, based upon the cards, I'm going to pull 5, what comes through and how they appear in the spread. So first card for you, so left orientation, is the Ace of Diamonds, which is sensation. We also have the King of Clubs, the Chief of Eternity, that also presented in Pile 1. Oh, wow. We have the 7 of Spades, Foolishness, that also came out in Pile 2. We have the Red Joker, Unconsciousness. What an interesting image there. And we have the 4 of Diamonds, Family. Okay, so there's a lot of reference here to unconsciousness. The Chief of Eternity also represents kind of the intersecting point where unconsciousness versus consciousness, so our 3D self versus our 5D or higher self, where those two concepts or, you know, ideas of self meet, our perception of reality. As you can see, the Chief of Eternity, the King of Clubs, his eyes are closed. So he doesn't even need to see and feel and experience with his physical eyesight. He can feel it and intuit it through, again, his inner senses, through the unconscious mind. It's tapping more deeply into spirituality. This is also echoed in the Red Joker, which also represents unconsciousness. Let's see exactly what this represents. It says your deepest level of consciousness, a pool of desires, dreams, spirituality, and emotions, something hidden, and it can also represent a trickster. So this could also be why you're feeling the need to protect yourself. You're not trusting your own inner guidance. Perhaps you're not heeding the signs from Spirit. You're feeling very lost. Foolishness can come in to represent an idea that you don't feel secure. Again, there may be some element of trickery or deception. We have the card Love, 2 of Hearts, very self-explanatory. So let's get one more clarifier. And the 9 of Clubs, which is Psyche. So this is, again, intuiting at a deeper level about perhaps a connection, a love situation. need to see through the smoke and mirrors about this person. I do think there is some element of deception that could perhaps be included in the energy of this person, or just, again, the idea of not fully trusting and seeing things clearly, and that need to sort of keep everything locked in, keep your emotions hidden, or keep your emotions safe, your heart safe, and to not fully trust and allow the flow of this relationship to evolve. We have sensation as well, the Ace of Diamonds, facing away from this unconsciousness. So I really do think, again, there's a strong message here that you're not trusting. You're not trusting the impressions and the signs and syncs that are being presented by Spirit. The clarifier here being discovery. And what's interesting about this discovery card, look at how she's not even looking at the mirror she's holding. She's not looking at the individuals below her that are supporting her and helping her, aiding her. You know, she's not really deeply connected with any of her surroundings or with the truth of the matter. She's not in a state of discovery. She's actually in a state of oblivion or ignorance, I would say. What else? What else is going on with this sensation card here? The King of Spades, the Chief of Wickedness. This is the one card in the deck that I don't like. It's very evil looking. I don't mean evil like demons, but it does look very ominous, very unsafe. I do have to say, pile 3, I think that you have somebody who's a little bit disingenuous surrounding you. And instead of safeguarding and needing to preserve yourself and your emotions, I think it's important to just distance yourself from this energy. This can represent a troublemaker. Again, it's also interesting how the bird, who should represent freedom and flight and also spiritual wisdom, it's a strong sign from Spirit, birds are. They're always, messengers and symbolic of that. It's caged. It's locked inside the mind. It's not able to be free. It's not able to fly and to expand. It's limited. You're being limited in your thinking, in your ability to be creative, and your ability to love. You're restricting self because you can't trust yourself. You can't trust others around you. And what's important is to just deeply reflect on the messages and the signs and syncs, again, that you're getting from Spirit. Source is trying to connect with you to help you see the way forward. Psyche is a very strong indication of the inner being trying to, connect with you. I look at this as, how we have up top here the physical eye open and at the ready, and at the bottom the eye closed. I also think this is representative, and indicative of the eyes not needing to be physically open to see. You need to see with your third eye. You need to feel it with your body and soul. You need to connect at a deeper level to, again, intuit the circumstances and what's occurring in your physical life right now, instead of just looking with your 3D set of eyes, your 3D self, because again, you're not seeing things clearly, but you're getting a sense that something is off, and I think that's a correct impression to have. What is this family card here for? The Queen of Love. This is the Queen of Cups to me, and she's a mother. She's somebody who's a caregiver for others. I think it's just, important to keep yourself, your family safe, your heart safe, but by eliminating these people or eliminating anything that doesn't fully make you feel good. It's not about being guarded, but still being in their presence. Wickedness, that's terrible energy. I would never want to be around this man. I didn't do this for the other piles, but let's get some guidance for you on how to handle this. What is the reality that pile 3 isn't seeing? Travel. It's time to move on. Time to fly. The King of Diamonds, the Chief of the Earth. Pain, the 7 of Diamonds. Persona, the 6 of Diamonds. And Champion, the 10 of Spades. So you have someone secretly, who's doesn't have your best interests at heart. That's what's important to recognize here. There will be no winning with this person. Things aren't going to change. Persona is the personality that you project to others. It's causing pain because this person isn't being real with you. They're wearing a mask. And instead of trying to make things work with this person or trying to see a side of them that they maybe want to project to you, you need to see things for how they really are and to feel, again, your way through them. It may be painful, pile 3, but it's important to transcend this energy, to move forward, to fly and be free, to travel beyond these energies. Those birds are just, look at the bird is caged, and now the birds are free and they're flying. The man is even flying in his very rudimentary winged aircraft. Shows you how dated these cards are, which I love. Some of the very first forms of airplanes presented there. Yeah, it's time to seek your freedom. This king or chief of the earth, this king of diamonds, a natural leader leading by example. You're strong, pile 3, and you can transcend and overcome these energies. You can get away from any of this wickedness. You're right to feel the need to protect self. What is the guidance? Can we just have a little bit of guidance for pile 3, please? A little bit more guidance. Instinct. Yeah, trust your instincts. There's a lot of turmoil. Look at that person's fearful. It's actually frightful. It's a frightful image, that face. Morning Herald. The Jack of Diamonds, excuse me. The Jack of Diamonds, all of the heralds in this deck represent messengers. The Morning Herald is a messenger of something new and good. So there's something new on the way for you. You need to trust your instincts and move out of this energy. Get out of this sense of turmoil, this lack of safety, security, trust, and you need to move towards peace. Your intuition is calling you to do that, pile 3. You already feel a need, an instinct, if you will, to trust, safeguarding self and to keeping your emotions and your heart and anything of value to you locked safe inside of this bubble. But it's, again, important to also distance physically and to move on, to transcend the energy, to get away from anything that doesn't serve you so that you can move on to something better, because it is on the way to you. But it can't make it to you until you take those strides. You make that leap and move beyond any of these more difficult energies. So pile 3, I so hope you've enjoyed this reading. It's very different, but as you can see, really strong messages that come through. If you have enjoyed it and it has resonated for you, I would love for you to consider subscribing if you haven't done so, liking, sharing, commenting. Tell me how this reading resonated to your situation if you care to share. I would love to hear that. There's also other ways that you can support my channel monetarily with donations or deck purchases, as well as just booking private readings, which would really help me right now. At a time in my life, I am moving. So this is also why I haven't been as active on my channel. Just a big state of flux and a lot of transition for me at this time. But your support means so much. And if nothing else, your presence here has meant the world to me. And I am so thankful for you deciding to share space. Hopefully we'll see each other again in a future reading. And until next time, pile 3, take great care of yourself. Bye-bye.